after I cry and like, Billy, I don't talk shit. Yeah, I feel better.
Hi, Hazelle.
It's Azura. And I'm Germaine.
And welcome to another episode of Celebrities Hush Podcast.
As you can see, or if you're not on YouTube, sorry, please go on YouTube. We're dressed in black today for a very good reason.
Which is?
Our dignity died. I'm kidding. We're discussing dark days. Yes.
I'm a little bit scared.
Well, you know, we always look like we're happy-go-lucky, but I've definitely seen these girls cry.
Oh.
I've seen
So
them
many
both
times.
cry. They've seen me cry, we've seen each other cry, and we all have bad days, right? Just because we seem like, we're always laughing and giggling and stuff like that. So before we begin, just a quick disclaimer, we are discussing certain topics today that may be triggering for some audiences, and your well-being and emotional safety are of utmost importance to us.
You can watch our previous episodes.
Yes.
The wholesome ones. Okay, I think they're good for you.
The fun one.
Yeah.
The fun ones. I have a very alarming statistic.
Oh.
In the latest data that they released in June, Singapore saw its highest suicide rate since the year 2000. This rate has been rising over the years, and I think it's because of lifestyle, culture, and perhaps some of the after effects of COVID. It's sad to hear that, you know, this rate is rising, and I think a lot of it is probably because, you know, many people feel that they have no other option. Right? But everyone has low days. Low days and dark days are different.
Oh, how so?
Yeah. I think low days, you know, it's days where you feel emotionally low. Like, I wake up today on the wrong side of the bed. You know, I'm not looking forward to work. I'm not looking forward to doing what I have to. Dark days can be a day where you can't even get out of bed. A day where you have some very dark thoughts going through your head. I heard from some people that, you know, being depressed or being in a state like that, time passes slower. So can you imagine that for a day for us, right, it feels like 10 days for them. It's agonizing and it's slow and they just want it to end. And I think that's probably, you know, the best way that we can describe it. But do you girls remember your last low or dark day?
I think I'm fortunate in this sense. I don't think I've ever experienced a dark day where I feel crippled in bed and I can't get out. But I'm blessed. Low days, of course. Actually, just recently. Like, I've lost sleep over certain issues and it's very unlike me to lose sleep. Like, I sleep like a baby always. So when I start losing sleep, it means that something is really on my mind. And this is something that I've been struggling to come to terms with as well. In fact, I don't even know how to put it in words because whatever I'm feeling is confusing even myself. But I know I'm feeling something for sure. It's a low period for me, I'm sure. And I'm just finding ways that I can cope and sort of like slowly come out of this.
So when you wake up, right, let's say recently when you felt very low, what do you then do? Do you just force yourself to go through your day?
Yes. In fact, I pack my day to the max.
Oh.
Because this is, what you said just now was very true. I feel like my days, my hours go by so super slowly. So by packing them with work, I force the time to pass a bit faster. And it's very weird. I'm a foodie, but I just don't feel hungry in this period that I'm low. I just don't find the need to have food.
Do you think that's a healthy way to cope with your low day?
No, but I can't help that I don't have a good appetite. So I try to find other ways to cope with it, including talking to my girls, listening to music that I love, things like that.
What about you, Zura? When was your last struggle of a day? Don't tell me every day.
No. What I do know is that when I'm feeling like maybe even slightly below low, right? My defense mechanism is sleep, of which I won't be able to wake up. Like, I know I need to wake up and I know I'm not actually tired. I just can't wake up.
You don't want to get out of bed?
It's not that I don't want to, like, I just cannot.
Oh.
Yeah. But I have not been in a state of which I've had to cancel plans or have to, you know, perform less than I'm supposed to. At some point, I will be able to force myself out of it. But in that time, or anything that I can sacrifice in that time, I will just do it because it's like physical pain. My eyes physically cannot open. My brain is not working. Yeah.
I think that's hard for people to understand, right? When you feel this pain, and so much so that it manifests in physical pain, but a lot of people don't really understand mental anguish because you can't see it. It's not like a cut on your arm or like you've sprained your ankle. It's not a physical representation of the
Heck,
pain.
you can't even explain it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I'll still be able to force myself to do whatever that I have to do is because having to apologize and explain later is a greater pain.
Right. Oh gosh, I feel you, sis. So you'd rather just put all this anguish at the back of your mind, just get up, do whatever you have to. At the end of the day, go back to being your sluggish self in bed, right?
This is actually a bit like high functioning. You know that you have a job to be done, so you do it, but you're just putting a band-aid over how you feel.
Right.
And then you go back to it at the end of the day.
But in all honesty, sometimes that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes you feel better.
It's
Because
true, yeah.
when you're busy and you're occupied, then you feel like, hey, actually life isn't that bad after all.
I think there are a lot of different coping mechanisms for a low day. One of our PD actually said they like to put up My Chemical Romance.
Aw.
Yeah, and then scream in the car. Music is always great, right? Putting on the music you love.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're feeling low and like sad and like bad, do you listen to music that will make you happier?
Okay.
Or music that will make you cry more?
My gosh, sometimes it's the latter and it's very unhealthy.
Billie Eilish makes me cry a lot.
Oh my gosh.
When I'm sad and I put
I know
on Billie
sis.
very rude. I also know. But sometimes, right, having that release of emotions is also good. Because after I cry and like, Billy, I don't talk shit. Yeah, I feel better.
Sometimes it's like that, but then once you feel slightly happier, you're reluctant to listen to sad music because you don't want yourself to get back there.
True.
So when I'm like halfway there, not so happy but not so sad, I better fucking listen to happy
switch it
music. Switch it up so that, my mood can only go up. You know what I mean?
You know, there are also days of which like I don't really know what's wrong. There's no one particular thing that I'm actually sad about.
You're just feeling frumpy.
Correct.
Yes.
And I call these sad girl movie nights.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sad girl movie nights. Obviously it's like a metaphor. We don't actually do exactly what it says, right?
Yeah.
But I call it sad girl movie night, of which like if everybody is sad, okay, very good. 1 pint of ice cream each. Sad chick flick.
Oh,
Right?
I think we need that.
Yeah,
We do.
like tonight.
Genuinely. One of our other PD also said retail therapy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just go and buy unnecessary things. Like even if it's just like a $1 on Shopee.
Yeah.
Just checking out or just, walking out and buying some sort of thing can make them feel better. Yeah, talking to your friends, right?
Actually, someone says talking to strangers as well.
Strangers?
Yeah, on low days when this particular PD, when he or she doesn't want to feel lonely, they go and talk to strangers, basically.
No, but have you actually seen in movies of which like people talk to strangers like at cafes in the plane and tell them their entire life story because you will never see them again.
Some people actually turn to rain noises, white noises, brown noises. This is actually very common these days, where the sounds of like rain and thunder and the sea, they actually calm you.
So recently, I tried to count sheep because, there's just so much shit going on in my head.
losing sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I count to 200 plus. I'm still wide awake and I forgot what number I was at.
Can someone do an edit? Casey, can you count? Pretend you're sleeping.
Quick.
1, 2, hey, all the way to, all the way to 200. And you know what? I gave up. I woke up, replied some emails, and then I fell asleep.
Oh.
My God.
So you can try white noises and brown noises. I've heard they also help you with focus, mental focus when you're doing your work. So yeah, you never say never.
Can I tell you something I've done? Which is go to YouTube and search for the Shibuya Crossing live.
They have a video of that?
There's a live stream, babes.
What's wrong with my
God.
friends?
No, I've been there. Like, see that damn
video.
Oh.
It's a live stream, and honestly, right, like at night,
Continue.
when you just like find a comfy place, you're comfy, you're relaxed, preferably outdoor.
Yeah.
You put it on.
Can I recommend you a website? It's called watchpaintdry.com.
What's that?
You can watch the paint dry.
Don't want. I'd rather see like cars and like people walk.
Look out your
No, but it makes you wonder, like, wow, this person walking, like, what kind of a day did you have, you know?
Ah, I mean, if that takes your mind off your own day, why not?
Yo, I'm gonna check that out tonight, man.
Shibuya Crossing.
Yes.
Tonight.
That's where it's at.
Okay.
There are a lot of different coping mechanisms, is what we're trying to say. And it's not one size fits all, right? But I do think that the biggest challenge, really, like, I don't know how PD Nim, she can just talk to strangers about her challenges. I find it hard to talk to people about the struggles that I'm going through.
Sometimes I think it's easier if you don't know this person because that's the last you ever see of them. But I feel like I pick my battles.
Okay.
I will go to the right friends to share the appropriate struggles.
True.
Right? You sort of know what kind of responses you want out of your sharing already. Then just go to the right friend.
Sometimes I know if I go to this friend will ask me to go out and drink my troubles away. Is that the right answer? I don't think so. So then I don't go to this friend. I go to the friend who give me something sensible, like, I just think you should stay at home and you just have a good sleep, have a pint of ice cream, sad girl movie night.
Okay, because I'm always the sort of which I would want to talk about it. But have you ever felt so low or so sad that you don't even want to talk about it because it tires you out?
Yeah, the thought about talking about it just makes the whole problem even more real. And it makes me even more sad.
It's giving more energy to it. And having to relive what you're living through.
It's a pain in the ass.
But sometimes, that act of speaking it, that's the only way you can get through it. You know what I mean? You can't just push it aside and think that you can hop over it. And this is where I guess sometimes people seek professional help because in that sort of situation where this therapist or counselor or whatever is not supposed to judge you and just supposed to help you, maybe it's easier in a professional setting to talk about your feelings.
And I've once saw this image on Instagram. Thoughts in your mind when you don't talk about them is like a splash of colours everywhere. But when you actually talk about these thoughts, they are compartmentalized. You see the blues here, the greens here, the reds here, the pink here. And this is when you know more clearly how you're feeling about your own issues.
And the truth of the matter is not all problems can be solved by your friends. Your friends, are not professionals, right? And I've had friends come to me with very severe and major like depression, anxiety, thoughts of self-harm, and I've told them, I can't help you. You have to speak to a therapist. As much as I can tell you, I'm not a professional.
Right.
Yeah.
But the very saying of this sentence sometimes actually can hurt your friends as well. Maybe they feel like, no, I don't need professional help. I just need a listening ear. Like, why are you telling me to go to someone professional? I don't know. Do you feel like it could hurt them?
I do feel like sometimes they need to hear the truth because I don't want to, tell people.
Sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I don't want to tell people like, resort to going to professionals and getting like medication and stuff. But if you are so depressed that you cannot get out of bed, you're cancelling on work, you're cancelling on your life, you need to go and seek professional help. I don't think medication is the end of it. I think it is a way to get back into your life. I've seen, a friend who was very depressed, major anxiety, tried to commit suicide, and I had to be there in the hospital while they tried to pump her stomach out, right? And it's a very heartbreaking thing to be there. And from that moment, that was her turning point. After that, she sought a few different channels of help, one being a psychiatrist, who is the one who dispenses medication, one being a therapist, who is the one that
Listens to her, basically.
listens to you, and also a counselor. She had these three people and her entire support system of friends and family helping her. And she's in such a wonderful place now.
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah, because she sought help and she didn't stay in the situation that she was in, thinking that it would just end one day.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, so here's a note from someone anonymous. Personally and respectfully, I don't think professional help is of much help, at least in my own experience. There was a period where I was suicidal for years, and after many attempts, I told a close friend my gratitude for her in advance, in case I don't have time to do so when the suicide actually happens. She respected my decision, but then told me that if I ever need help, I could reach out to her or seek professional help. So partially, this person feels a bit offended because letting a good friend know wasn't a cry for help. It was just telling her about a decision that she's already made. But because she was someone close to her, so she decided to give it a try. Went for a few sessions, professional help, I mean, but don't see any improvement in her mental well-being. Because I think from her point of view, the professional caregiver, was just down there taking notes, listening to her. She wasn't even sure if she's interested in what she was sharing.
Sometimes maybe it felt like she was just doing a job.
Right.
Maybe that's how it felt. I think professional help is not going to work for everyone, right? Everyone's going to have a different way to come out of it. And the thing about having a therapist or a counselor is that every therapist and counselor is different. So this person may not work for you, but I've had friends who had to try like 4 or 5 therapists before they found one that could even help them. But I do have a gripe with like those hotlines. Yeah, you always see like, call this number, like if you're feeling da 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 da. I remember calling it once, very late in the night, and this person honestly made me feel so much worse than I was feeling. Yeah, it was horrible because it was a cry for help, right? I was calling, wanting someone to listen to me, wanting someone to calm me down. This person actually made me even more agitated by saying things like, I don't know what I can do to help you. What do you want me to do to help you?
Excuse me?
And then I realized that the people on these lines are not professionals. They're probably just volunteers.
Yes, so this is what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
My friend is a volunteer because she feels a lot about these kind of situations.
Yeah.
But, they volunteer out of their own goodwill, but sometimes when they're put in their situation, they're just overwhelmed
Yeah.
by the people who need help in this regard.
I think it's also important to note that, going through a really, really hard time, a dark period, right? Sometimes you feel obligated or you feel like there are voices or you feel like people feel and they're imposing on you that this should be done soon, that you need to snap out of it and that you need to do something about it. But there's no timeline to it. And I think we all know people who have been battling depression for years. I think it's also important to note that you sometimes weave in and out of it.
Right.
And it's completely okay if you fall back again into it. I know it feels tiring and it feels like a struggle, that like it feels like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. But I think don't give up on yourself,
Yeah. I agree. Everyone's experience with your own mental health is going to be very different, right? There are years that you feel great about yourself. There are going to be years that you feel shitty about yourself. But at the end of the day, I think it's trying to be grateful for what you have in your life, right?
Right.
Every day, you keep sort of like a journal, Hazy. Do you find that has helped you gain perspective in your life?
Yeah, when I actually write on it, yes.
Yeah, on your bad days, right?
Yeah, on my bad days, yes. I think one important thing for me is changing my perspective. Sometimes when we're experiencing low days, we are so sucked into our own negative thoughts that we forget the good that's around us, the people who love us, the happy things that happened. So, changing your perspectives actually work in this case. It can be something as simple as taking out your phone, snapping this good meal that you had with your friends, looking back at it, making you feel happy again as you relive the memories over lunch with your close friends. Something as simple as this, it helps.
And what I always say is a bad day is not a bad life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just because it's one bad day doesn't mean that, your whole life is determined by this one day. And I love something that Hazy posted recently. It's this like graphic of your progress today and your progress over the year. Just because your progress today felt like you went backwards or you didn't do anything or it was just a shit day. But if you take yourself back, right, and look at a more bigger picture,
Like a more macro view.
Of how much you've achieved in this year, how much you've achieved in the last 5 years, you realize that you've taken a very big step forward.
It's like investment.
Wow.
No, seriously.
Wow.
Seriously. In the short term, it may go down, but over the years in the market, you see
Correct.
a upwards movement.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks so
Yeah.
much. Yeah. What
Yeah.
should we invest in,
Yeah.
Hazy?
We'll tell you later.
Invest in yourself. Yeah. That changes your perspective, right? On
It
a lot
does,
of
it
things.
does.
And I think perspective is something that's very strong. I used to, like really lose sleep over people in my life that made me very upset, right? Like, why are you like this? Why you do things like this? But once my perspective changed, like actually they are not bad people. then that took out so much stress from my own life and anguish from my own brain.
And I always believe, why lose sleep over things that you can't control? I mean, I say this, I'm losing sleep myself. It's easier said than done, right? But as long as you remember it, I think it slowly will get better. And embracing your emotions is something that I feel is very important. Letting the negativity sit in your mind.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let it flow through you.
I find this is very useful with people with anxiety as well.
Right.
A friend called me a couple of days ago, like screaming and crying on the phone because of anxiety, like really major anxiety, and she was saying, I don't want to feel this way. Like I want this to end. I don't want to feel this way. Like she wants the feeling of anxiety, because it's so uncomfortable.
It's so suffocating.
It's so uncomfortable to have in your body, right? And it manifests in your body as pain. And I told her this one thing. I said that from my own personal experience with anxiety, pushing it away surprisingly never helps. But sitting with it, acknowledging I'm feeling anxious, it's okay, I'm not gonna die, my body is not in danger, right? The only way to deal with anxiety is to go through it.
And that is also letting go of the need to control. You want to control your anxiety, you want it to go away, right? But you realize that you can't. So just let it go. Don't control it. Let it come, let it sit, and then you eventually go away.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that you just have to ride out. You know, you've got no choice, but you're just going to ride it out.
Yeah.
And I love some of the content that Jeremy posted of late as well. Sometimes, you know, there's some healthy rituals or like some regimes that you will do. For example, just a simple stretch on your balcony with Bubbles, your cute little dog.
Oh, yeah.
So cute. Like starting your morning right, you know?
Yeah. I I've started meditating in the morning. Yeah, so 10 minutes every morning. And I feel that set a better tone for my day.
Right.
It's kind of like your check-in with yourself at the start of the day. I ask myself, how does my body feel? Where am I feeling like tension or pain? What am I excited for in my day? What am I thankful for in my day? And what am I stressed about?
Right.
It's like a mental journal.
You know, for people who own an Apple Watch, I also want to recommend this incredible function that I only just found out in the
Breathe
past year.
function.
Yes.
I knew it.
That is so amazing.
Yeah.
So on the Apple Watch, right? No, seriously, this is not sponsored content. There's this frame that says mindfulness.
Yes.
Or like breathe. So sometimes when I'm feeling anxious, just click on the breathe 1 minute, and then it says be still and bring your attention to your breath. And then there's this like vibration movement.
Yeah.
When
It
it
will
vibrates, you just inhale. And then when it vibrates again, you just exhale. Like, right, it's vibrating right now. So I don't even have to look at the screen.
Yeah.
I just lie in my bed. I feel the vibrations and I just follow. And after 1 minute, surprisingly, you feel good about yourself. You feel better. You feel, and let the breath go all the way, not just to the chest, but all the
Deep
way
belly.
down. Yes.
Belly breathing.
Let it fill up your belly.
Yeah.
And then let it come out.
You know, like, my friends have started saying that I operate on, like, New York time, which is not great.
Yes, we know, darling.
It's not news.
Okay, but I also feel like sometimes when you're going through like a really dark time, right? It's not just one thing. The problem is that when it rains, it pours. And sometimes it's a whole bunch of things, one after another.
Like going to shit at once.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I felt like I went through something like that quite recently, of which I felt like nothing was working out for me. It felt like everything was in shambles and there was no like one thing that could keep me going, you know? It all just didn't feel right. And I think when something like that happens, it's very important to understand that you can't solve it all.
I think all these things, right, it could come in a combination of things, right? And it's your healthy support system, whether it be your dogs, journaling, meditation, yoga. Well, what is yours?
Mine is friends.
Okay, friends. Yeah, very important, friends,
Okay.
right? All these things come together to keep you alive, to make you grateful for life. Right?
Okay, so I know we mentioned just now that professional assistance sometimes, you know, is a hit or miss, but sometimes they also actually provide us with a lot of help, especially if we have persistent symptoms. And sometimes maybe these symptoms we don't even realize it's happening to us. But when we talk to a professional about it, they can pinpoint right away, hey, I see this in you. Are you suffering from blah, 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 blah? Do you need this and that, this and that?
I always say, right, if it affects your ability to cope with literally your life, then your quality of life is just, it's down to zero, right? Is there any way to live? Like, if in that case you can seek professional assistance and it can bring your quality of life back up, I think it's worth a try. For me, the big hard and fast rule is if you are experiencing any thoughts of self-harm or substance abuse or even thoughts of suicide, I think that is a definite yes to trying professional assistance at least.
And it's a journey with professional assistance as well. I know it feels like at that point especially you just want someone to have an answer for you. But I think like a lot of other things in life, it might be a journey of which that person may not have the answer, but someone else might have.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to note that seeking professional help doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you.
No.
Okay, so to all our listeners tuning into this episode of Harsh Podcast, we just want to end off this episode with some happy quotes.
Can
Okay?
you guys edit like those like cheesy motivational quotes posters?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
So you
each
have to
of-
say it a certain way, okay?
yeah. Each of us will have one. Okay.
Hazy's quote. Your direction is more important than your speed.
Your direction is more important than your speed.
It doesn't matter how fast or slow you go. As long as you're headed in the right direction, just trust in that whole process.
Mine's a really simple one. In fact, I'm going to quote a friend. Taking care of yourself is a full-time job.
Wow. Facts. Why do we have full-time jobs then?
Yeah. Actually, this full-time job is more taxing than the one that I
we don't
currently
get
have.
paid.
Yeah.
No, we do get paid with quality of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good way to put it.
Oh. Huh?
AL.
Yeah. Got annual leave.
God, you'll be glowing. You'll be like hydrated.
Nice.
Okay. Whatever you do, give your 100%. Unless you are donating blood.
What do you mean? If I'm donating blood, don't give my 100%?
Cannot have no blood.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. 100%.
And also, you are enough.
Yes.
You are enough.
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 You
All
are
of
enough.
You are
Why
enough.
Nobody tell me that.
Yeah,
Oh,
have.
you
You are
are
enough.
enough.
Okay?
If you want positive quotes, call our hotline. We'll put the number.
Ding, ding, ding,
I'll
ding.
leave my number lah.
Yeah.
No, actually, I feel like the whole Clever team and all the content we put up is all about positivity.
Yeah.
There has to be at least 5 episodes that relate to you. I mean, we've done so many, right? So if you haven't checked out our previous episodes, feel free to check out snippets on our Instagram at iscleverty.co.
You can listen to us on Listen, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
We're also on TikTok. We rarely mention this, but yeah, we have some pretty debatable snippets
Right.
up on TikTok if you'd like to join the debate. But we're also on YouTube if you want to check out, I don't know, the beautiful set. That's what we always say.
Yeah, and our dark clothes today.
I feel like we're ending this off on a positive note.
Yes, we are.
So I'm very happy about that.
So, I'm Hazel,
I'm Azura.
And I'm Germaine.
and we'll see you on the next episode of Cleverties.
Bye.
This particular PD, when he or she doesn't want to feel lonely, they go and talk to strangers, basically. Who is this?
Your mother never tell you.
I feel small conversations are okay.
Where do you find them? The strangers.
Just the auntie, uncle, downstairs at the void deck playing chess. Then you go up to them and like, hey, yo, how's your day?